Hey Algebros! Welcome back to the next chronicle of factoring. The past two lessons on this have been mostly building blocks to what factoring actually looks like. Now we're actually going to get down and dirty with a couple of quadratic expressions that are already expanded to be just a sum of a bunch of terms. But how can I write them as chunks multiplied together? Specifically starting off with a situation where it is a single term times a binomial. How can I get to that form? The reverse process of all of this is what was distribution, or expanding. How can I reverse all of that? It's time to find out. As we mentioned before, this is a process called factoring, the opposite of expanding. So keep an eye out when you're looking at the instructions of a question. Do I want you to factor, or do I want you to expand? The steps are as follows. You're first up, in whatever expression you're given, you're going to find the GCF of the terms. And that was found in part 1. Next, you're going to divide each term by the found GCF, which we found in part 2. This is the new part here in step 3. You'll lock those terms, as in the results of the division, in parentheses. So here it is the results of the division in the parentheses, and the GCF is the bodyguard, or in other words, the outside the parentheses term. How does this look? This is fairly new. Well, you might have seen the distributive property or double distribution before. I'm almost certain you have not seen this before. So let's learn how to undistribute. In a situation like this one right here, 2x squared plus 4x. We start off with the GCF process. If you don't remember how to do this, refer back to part 1 of factoring. And that's by looking at the numbers. 2 and 4, their GCF is 2. X squared and x, their GCF is x. For the next part, if you don't remember how to do it, go back to part 2 from the videos or the notes. And that's just the division. First up, divide the terms. 2 divided by 2 is 1. X squared divided by x is just x. And then for the next one, 4 divided by 2 is just 2. X divided by x is just nothing. It's just 1. Now, how does this last step work? Lock these terms in parentheses. In the order that they came, so this first one, this 2x squared was first. So its result x is going to go first in parentheses. Meanwhile, this one over here, 4x over 2x, that's going to go second in the parentheses. X plus 2 now lives in there. But I'm not quite done yet. I have to have the GCF, the one we found in part 1, as the bodyguard outside. So this 2x is going to go here. It's really a matter of taking a bunch of puzzle pieces and putting them exactly where they need to go. And practice is going to make perfect. So I encourage you to not just sit there and say, I don't understand this. I want you to try. I want you to try to follow, especially with these arrows. These would be very, very good for note-taking purposes, especially if you don't know where things are going to go. Next up is samples. X squared and x. Let's start off with GCFs. We know the GCF of x squared and x is going to be just x. So that's our GCF. Now, divide each term. X squared divided by x. We know that one as well is just going to be x. Well, x divided by x, well, it's a number divided by itself, so it's just going to be 1. So let's create the parentheses here. The first term to come from this is this x1 plus the 1. And what's our GCF? The x. So x will end up on the outside, while this chunk of parentheses, x plus 1, is our binomial. And now look, it's the multiplication of a term with an expression, and that's what we have as our factored form. Let's see the next one. 3x squared minus 6x. Let's start out by finding the GCF of all of these terms. 3 and 6. We only have one negative, so our result is going to be positive. 3 and 6 is common factor, is 3. X squared and x is just x. Now we're going to divide. 3x squared divided by 3x. That's going to be 3 divided by 3 is 1. X squared divided by x is x. And then negative 6x over 3x. We want that negative to follow. Keep that in mind. That's going to be negative 2, and the x's just go. So let's create the parentheses out of this. X goes first. It's the first one we found, followed by the negative 2. So instead of saying plus, I'm going to say x minus 2. That's going to be my block of parentheses. And what's the bodyguard watching over it? 3x. Again, don't hesitate to come and find me if you think any of this is hard. You absolutely should find me if any of this does not seem clear to you. Next up is 4x squared plus x. GCF of these terms. 4 and 1 only have a GCF of 1, and x squared and x, it's basically second nature right now. It's just x. Now we divide. 4x squared divided by x. 4 divided by 1 is 4. X squared divided by x is x. Followed by x over x is just 1. So the bodyguard is going to be just x, opening parentheses. Then I'm going to have the 4x plus the 1. Go in the order that they are. So 4x squared came first. So its divided version of 4x, after we did the division by the GCF, is going to come first. And second will be the second term. Ah, nice. We got one with negatives next. So negative 5x squared minus 15x. Because we have two negatives, that has to factor into the GCF, so our GCF will almost certainly be negative here. Negative 5x squared and negative 15x. Negatives will follow. 5 and 15, their GCF is 5. X squared and x, it's going to be x. So watch what's going to happen with the division. Negative 5x squared divided by negative 5x. Negative and negative will actually cancel to become positive. 5 and 5 will also cancel, as it's just 5 divided by 5. And then x squared and x leaves us with just x. Next up is negative 15x divided by negative 5x. Once again, the negatives cancel. 15 divided by 5 is 3. X divided by x cancels. So now, my block of parentheses will now be x plus 3. Despite the fact that the negatives were in the original problem, they've canceled out in each of these division steps. Because our outside number, our bodyguard, is going to be negative 5x. And you can double check your answers here. We can always just distribute again and figure this out. So negative 5x into x plus 3. It's going to visit each one of these on the inside. Negative 5x times x is negative 5x squared, because the x's will multiply. Negative 5x times 3, negative 15x. And we're back to the original, so this works. Let's do one more together, and then I leave you with some u-tries. 14x plus 35x squared. Start off with the GCFs. 14 and 35, this is a tricky one. But if you list out factors, you're going to see that the GCF is 7, and then x and x squared is nothing more than just x. Next we divide. 14x divided by 7x. 14 divided by 7 is 2. X divided by x is just that. Then 35x squared divided by 7x. 35 divided by 7 is 5. X squared divided by x is just x. We put these into our parentheses, so it's going to be 2 plus 5x. And on the outside, we have our bodyguard, 7x. Can you conquer these 3 u-tries? I know you can. You just have to get started. I'm waiting.